It's not intelligence. It's not talent. It's not where you were born or who your parents are or what degree you hang on your wall. That's not what separates the wealthy from the broke. That's not what creates the top 1% while the rest fight over scraps. It's mindset. It's patterns. It's the war between discipline and comfort, between long-term vision and instant gratification, between ownership and excuses. Most people will never be wealthy because they never learn to think like the wealthy. They chase what looks like success, not what builds it. They work hard, but for the wrong reasons, in the wrong direction, with the wrong identity running their life. They react to the world instead of creating in it. They wait for opportunity instead of becoming opportunity. And when things don't happen fast, they quit and call it fate. They blame the system, the economy, the algorithm, the boss, the timing, everything except the one thing they could control all along: their mind. You cannot build wealth with a poor man's mindset. You cannot build abundance with a fear-based identity. And you cannot build freedom when your habits are still chained to survival. This is the brutal truth. You are either conditioning your mind for wealth or for struggle, every single day. Every time you choose comfort over growth, distraction over focus, emotion over discipline, you reinforce the very system that keeps you broke. Most people want wealth. Very few are willing to become the person wealth requires. Wealth is not about money. It's about power. The power to decide how your day is spent. The power to choose what you work on. The power to walk away. The power to give without worrying what you'll lose. The power to say yes to your vision and no to everything that dilutes it. But that kind of power, it's earned. And the price? Most people won't pay it. They'll work 40 years for someone else, but won't spend 1 hour a day building something for themselves. They'll scroll for hours, but say they don't have time. They'll study gossip, trends, and drama, but never study money. They fear risk more than regret. They fear rejection more than irrelevance. They fear failure more than being average forever. That's the sickness. And the cure isn't out there. It starts in here. Wealth starts in the mind. That's what Napoleon Hill understood when he wrote Think and Grow Rich. He didn't say, work and grow rich. He didn't say, wish and grow rich. He said, think, because wealth begins with thought, with belief, with identity, with vision, with the invisible blueprint before the physical reality ever shows up. Before Carnegie had steel, he had vision. Before Edison lit the world, he had faith. Before Ford transformed the world, he had persistence. And before most people give themselves a real chance, they've already surrendered. Surrendered to doubt, surrendered to laziness, surrendered to opinions, to fear, to the idea that maybe I'm just not meant for more. But wealth is not about what you're meant for. It's about what you decide. You decide to master your thoughts, or they master you. You decide to own your time, or someone else does. You decide to act on your ideas, or watch someone else profit from theirs. Most people will never be wealthy because they never decide. They drift. They delay. They distract. They deny themselves the truth that success is not about finding the path. It's about walking it, daily, relentlessly, without applause, without guarantees, without asking for validation. You have to become the kind of person who shows up when it's hard, the kind who builds when no one is watching, the kind who learns instead of complains, the kind who adapts instead of resents. Wealthy people think differently, and it shows in their patterns. They seek leverage, not labor. They seek systems, not status. They ask, how can I multiply this, instead of, how can I survive? They build assets, not addictions. They build networks, not dependencies. They build identity before income, because they know income will never rise higher than the self-image holding it. You can't out-earn your mindset. You can't build freedom with the same habits that built your cage. So the question is not, how do I get rich? The question is, who must I become to live in alignment with wealth? That question demands honesty. It demands work. It demands a new version of you, one that doesn't flinch at discomfort, one that doesn't fold under pressure, one that doesn't chase quick wins and call it a business plan. Because let's be honest, most people don't want wealth. They want the feeling of wealth. They want the lifestyle, the flex, the dopamine hit. But wealth isn't built in dopamine. It's built in discipline. Discipline to say no to the wrong opportunities. Discipline to study while others sleep. Discipline to invest while others spend. Discipline to act with patience when the world demands urgency. And that level of discipline, it's not taught, it's chosen. Chosen every day. Chosen through every decision. Chosen when it's boring, when it's hard, when no one's watching. Wealth requires that you trade short-term pleasure for long-term power, that you trade validation for vision, that you stop explaining your ambition to people who've already quit on theirs, that you rise, quietly, ruthlessly, without applause, without excuse. That's why most people will never be wealthy. Not because they don't have access, not because they weren't born with it, but because they never took ownership of their own mind. They never rewired their internal GPS. They walked through life with a broken compass, chasing more, chasing fast, chasing shiny, and wondering why they kept ending up lost. You cannot build wealth without clarity. You cannot move powerfully when your mind is fogged by doubt, distracted by noise, and hijacked by what everyone else is doing. Clarity is your advantage. Clarity cuts through the chaos. Clarity is wealth in its rawest form. Because once you know what you're building, everything else becomes background static. The wealthy move with intent. They don't dabble. They don't chase 10 things at once and master none. They pick a path. They study it. They burn the boats. And they go all in. That kind of clarity isn't found in podcasts or wishful thinking. It's forged, alone, in silence, when you finally stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What am I willing to commit my life to, whether or not it pays me today?" Most people want options. The wealthy want focus, because they know every distraction has a price, and every decision is an investment. Your attention is your currency. Your energy is your equity. Your habits are your compound interest. You can spend your life reacting, or you can design it. But design takes vision. Vision so vivid that it pulls you forward through fatigue, through failure, through every doubt and delay the world throws at you. Walt Disney saw an entire empire of imagination before he had a single dollar. Henry Ford envisioned a future where the common man owned a car when everyone else thought it was a fantasy. Steve Jobs pictured a world where you held your life in your palm before the world was even ready. That's the power of vision. It makes the impossible look inevitable. And when you operate from that place, people feel it. They don't just hear your goals, they sense your certainty. Vision is not a pretty Pinterest board. It is not a 5-step goal chart. It's a fire, one that either consumes your excuses or dies in their shadow. So many people never get wealthy because they're waiting for permission to believe, waiting for signs, waiting for someone else to co-sign their potential. But no one is coming to give you belief. No one is handing you conviction. No one is going to fight for your dream harder than you. You don't manifest wealth by hoping. You manifest it by becoming unshakable in your vision, so focused that the world bends to accommodate your direction. And once you find that vision, you guard it. You protect it from the world's noise, the critics, the fearmongers, and even your past self. The one who thought small and aimed low to avoid being judged. Because here's the truth. The moment you align with vision, the world will test your commitment. It'll throw distractions at you dressed as opportunities. It'll send people to doubt you, mock you, question you. Not because you're wrong, but because you've stopped conforming. Because you're building something they're too afraid to build themselves. Most people fold here. They flinch. They lower their voice. They soften their edges to keep the peace. But wealth doesn't come to the ones who play small. It comes to the ones who double down, who get louder in their actions, clearer in their intentions, more ruthless with their standards. Your vision should scare people who gave up on theirs. It should make you uncomfortable, because it demands you grow into someone the old you was afraid of. And once you find that level of clarity and vision, that's when purpose kicks in. Not just goals, not just checklists, but purpose, the reason you must win. The fire that turns I want into I will. The reason you get up when you're broken. The reason you stay up when everyone else sleeps. Purpose is not found. It is forged. In resistance, in rejection, in repeated failure. It's when the dream doesn't pay yet, but you still show up. It's when no one claps, and you still go harder. It's when nothing's working, and you refuse to walk away. Because real purpose, it's not just about you, it's about the people who need what you're building. It's about the legacy you're writing in silence. It's about becoming someone your younger self can be proud of, and your future self will never have to apologize for. When you have purpose, you no longer negotiate with excuses. You don't wait for motivation. You operate on non-negotiables. You move like it's already yours, because deep down you know, wealth isn't what you chase, it's what you become. The world gives to the relentless, to those who show up not when it's easy but when it's hard, to those who live in discipline when the rest are drowning in desire. Discipline is the gatekeeper, the bridge between vision and result. It's what separates the dreamers from the builders, the talkers from the doers, the almost successful from the undeniable. You don't become wealthy by what you intend. You become wealthy by what you repeat, daily, quietly, unemotionally. While others wake up and scroll, you rise and execute. While they wait for the perfect mood, you build through the storm. While they burn their time, you invest it, knowing that every small move compounds into something massive. Discipline is the most loving thing you can give your future, because it says, I care more about who I'm becoming than how I feel in this moment. And that's where most people lose. They trade long-term greatness for short-term ease. They flirt with their dreams but marry their habits. And then they wonder why wealth stays just out of reach. You want real wealth? Start here. Do what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like it. Work the system. Refine the process. Repeat it until it breaks through. Let your work become your proof. Let your habits do the talking. And let your consistency become your reputation. That's how you separate. That's how you rise. That's how you go from wishing to owning. Most people think wealth is a bank account. It's not. Wealth is a mindset, long before it ever becomes a number. It's the way you walk, the way you think, the way you show up when no one's watching. The truth? Broke is a condition, but poor is a mentality. It's born in the stories you tell yourself, I'm not ready. I'm too late. I need someone to show me the way. No. You need to decide. Decide that your excuses no longer own you. Decide that you're done outsourcing your power, because wealth does not arrive politely. It does not knock. It does not ask. It shows up when you finally claim it like it's already yours. Do you want to know why most people stay average? Because they're addicted to comfort, to distractions, to opinions. They'll spend 5 hours binging a show, but won't spend 15 minutes studying how money works. They'll spend thousands upgrading their phone, but nothing upgrading their mindset. Let that sink in. We've built a culture that worships convenience and ignores consequence, and then we wonder why our lives feel empty. The 1% aren't smarter than you. They're just willing to suffer for a future most people won't believe in until it's obvious. They trade weekends for mastery. They trade validation for vision. They trade comfort for clarity. And while the world scrolls, sleeps, and makes excuses, they build. Understand this. There is no hack for greatness, no shortcut to wealth, no app that replaces work. You either build your foundation or you rent your limitations forever. And every single day you choose comfort over courage. You co-sign your own mediocrity. You know who gets wealthy? The one who doesn't need applause. The one who can be misunderstood for years and still show up. The one who doesn't post quotes, but lives them. Because success isn't sexy when it's real. It's waking up early when you're tired. It's showing up when you're invisible. It's doing the work when no one claps, likes, or shares. It's not just the habits. It's who you become because of them. So while most people keep seeking how, the wealthy are obsessed with who. Who do I need to become so that this result is inevitable? Who do I need to stop being to make room for that future? That's what separates the top 1% from the masses. They don't just set goals, they redefine themselves. They upgrade their standards, they subtract the noise. They say no more than they say yes. Because they know that the power to create is also the power to destroy. Distractions, doubt, dependency. If you want to build wealth, stop playing defense. Stop living in reaction. Start operating from intention. Start designing your days instead of surviving them. Ask yourself, where is my time leaking? Where is my mind being hijacked? Where am I allowing the world to think for me? And most importantly, who am I becoming when nobody's watching? Because that's the version that shows up under pressure. That's the version that either builds empires or watches from the sidelines while others do. Let others waste their lives chasing dopamine. Let others wait for perfect timing. Let others explain why they're not where they want to be. But you were born to lead, born to build, born to own. And that begins the moment you stop making wealth optional. You don't rise by chance. You rise by decision. A decision so bold, so absolute, that the world has no choice but to shift. That's what most people never understand. Wealth is not earned with your hands. It's earned in your mind, your character, your identity. Long before the numbers appear, long before the applause comes, long before the lifestyle shows. You must become the version of you who can carry it. And here's the truth they don't want to hear. If you gave most people $1 million tomorrow, it would ruin them. Because their mindset can't hold it. Their habits can't sustain it. Their self-worth would sabotage it. Wealth doesn't just reveal your character, it amplifies it. So stop waiting for money to change your life. Change your life, and money will come chasing you. Become the person who no longer needs permission, who no longer reacts, who no longer explains, who no longer seeks comfort. Become the person who walks into every room with silent conviction, not because of what you have, but because of who you are, unshakable, relentless, clear. Because when your vision is clear, the noise becomes irrelevant. When your purpose is strong, the opinions fade. When your mind is disciplined, the results become inevitable. This is why the 1% never flinch. They already saw the end before the beginning. They built the identity before the outcome. And they kept showing up long after the motivation faded. So ask yourself now, are you truly serious about this? Or are you just entertained by the idea of wealth? Because here's the line in the sand. If you want to rise, you must do what 99% won't. You must outwork their doubt. You must outlast their noise. You must outbelieve their fear. No one's coming to save you. No one's coming to hand you permission. This is your life, your moment, your war to win. And the beautiful truth? You were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to blend with mediocrity. You were born to build something so real, so powerful, so undeniable, that the world can't ignore you. So stop explaining, stop hesitating, stop reacting, decide, commit, and become so focused, so disciplined, so utterly unstoppable. That success has no choice but to find you.